Hello, my name is John Tarr from Best Website Solutions, and I'm going to be teaching today on how to use a free photo software called Pixlr. This is the Pixlr Editor. It's free. You don't download it onto your computer. You don't do anything. You just save it in your address bar and then bring it up. You don't have to sign in. You don't have to give a password. You don't have to do anything. You can do all of that, and they actually have a pro version of this, I guess. But we're just going to use the free version. This is the photo sizes that we're going to be making. Today we're going to be doing 3 sizes. I have 4 here, but the slider we're not going to worry about today. Um, Again, this is Pixlr, Pixlr, and I have got this saved into my browser. It's pixlr.com/editor, so I can get right to it. These are the aspect ratios. For horizontal is going to be 500 by 335 pixels. In other words, it's making a 7 by 4.5 inches at 72 dpi. Remember, DPI is very important going on websites or social media. They need to be small, especially the website. You need to do that, especially for blog posts, and the rest of the pages all help too. That's what helps a website open quickly. If you put in big images in there, social media has its own engine that when people do load up big pictures, that it shrinks them down for them. But we don't have no such tool here in WordPress. You actually can, it does shrink it, but they always say it's better just to bring it into the size that it needs to be. I have found that 7 and 4.5 inches is a perfect size horizontal. Shows up well, looks good, and a vertical is 4.5 by 7, means it'll be 7 inches high. Just works really good, 72 dpi. When you go higher dpi, and this is where you live, 72 or 96 dpi, the higher DPI for print is for printing, and that's why they need a lot more dots per inch. That's what DPI stands for, is dots per inch. So usually, let's say it's an image they want to print off a 16 by 20, and that would be at 240 DPI. So it's actually 16 inches by 20 inches, or if it's a horizontal picture, it'd be a 20 by 16 at 240. But in computers, we don't need anything that big. And if you do try to jam up stuff bigger than that in a JPEG, it's going to slow the thing way down. So we don't want to do that. So that's why we're doing this. And that's why we're manipulating this today. So, okay, I'm going to move on from here. These are our aspect ratios, so I'm going to pull those off to the side. You're going to see right here, this is the editor. We don't have to sign in. I didn't sign in. So the very first thing you're going to do, I'm actually going to move this over just a slight bit so I can see a couple of the images right here on the side that I have brought out. I made a vertical and a horizontal, so that's what we're going to grab. When you go in here and open up an image from the computer, it's going to want to know where that image is going to be. If I only have a couple images, I will actually take them ahead of time and put them right on a desktop, but this will actually allow you to go into an exterior hard drive or wherever you have it. So right now I've got it here. We're going to take this one horizontal photograph right here, and I'm going to hit open. And here it is. As you can see, it's a very large image. It's 3,872 by 2,592 pixels. That tells me it's not only big size, but it's also got a very high DPI to it. And we want to eliminate that. We don't want that to happen. So I'm going to there are a lot of tools here along the left-hand side. I would suggest that you just come in here and play with these. You can go onto YouTube or go to different places to learn how to use different things. I wanted to do this video so they would be more specific to converting our images for website for WordPress. So that's what we're doing it here. So we're going to be living in these two. The arrow right here helps us to go into the image size, and then a crop tool. You can go in here and burn pictures and do all kinds of different things. But today I'm just going to go in here to image. I'm going to click this, go to image here, and image size. And you're going to see this guy pop up right away. And this is going to be for our pixels. So, a horizontal, and I'm putting this right here next to it. I'm going to click out of here. And it's off to the side here. I'm going to actually move this over just a little bit so you can see this one too. So you can go here if you want to and shrink her down, but we're going to want to make it 500. It doesn't really go there, so I'm actually going to do it myself. I just want it 500. And you can see what it did here. It went 500 and it constrained it so the width would be 500, but the height would be only 335. And that's what I've gotten right here. This will make it into a 7 by 4.5 inch at 72 dpi. So that's what that means. So if I hit OK right here, you can see that the image shrunk way down. And that's good. That's a good thing. Now the very next thing we need to do, that's really all you got to do, but now you got to save it so you can keep it. So you go up here to File, and then you hit to the Save button, and it's going to ask you a name, a new name to redo it. If you're making this for a blog post, you're going to want to rename it, whatever the blog post is, but be careful, you got to add a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to it, because you can't have the same file in the same place that all have identical names. And we want to make sure that it's a JPEG. It'll give you a choice here. Ping works on a site. The rest of the other three do not. So JPEG is just fine for most sizes. And we'll just leave it at 80. And then we want to change it. Let's make it just kissing. And if I have an identical photograph, you're going to want to keep your big photograph in a folder. And then when you're making a blog, you're going to want to keep your images that are shrunk down with your text that's going to go into that blog post with your images. And I will show you how to do that on another video. But anyway, we're going to make this kissing, and then just leave it like that. And I'm going to hit, it's going to ask you want to put it. We're going to put it right back there. And it opened up an ad on me. Anyway, so now if I go back in here, I'm going to see that the kissing shot is right here. And here it is. And it made it just the size we want it. Okay? Now if I go back and I'm going to open this kissing shot in my Photoshop, just to give you an idea what's going on. And then if I go open to image, give it a image size, you're going to see that it's a 7 by 4.5. So it's to the size we want. And then I'll hit OK. So there she is. That's the size we want. Okay. Now, closing out of Photoshop here. Now, let's say we wanted to use this picture not only for the inside of the blog post, but we want to have a featured image made out of this. So if you look over here to history, you can see two things that happened. One was open image, which is the first one, and history was image size. So all we got to do is go back to open image, and it goes back to its original size. Okay, now we're going to go over to the crop tool right here, and then we need to have it constrained also, so we're going to have an aspect ratio, and then our featured image needs to be 9 by 5. So we're going to make that right now. And we can make that right in here. I want to make it 9 and by 5. Okay, 9 by 5. Now, you saw the tool instantly go right here, and it's constraining the sizes for us. So I start out over, usually on the right side, and then I drag it. And that's making it a 9 by 5 right there. Then I just bring it to the other side. You can make it smaller, bigger. You can constrain it down like this, but it's forcing the constraining and without it making the aspect ratio get really funky. So let's say I wanted to leave it like this. Okay. Now I go back up here to image, and it's going to ask you, do you want to apply the changes? And I'm going to say yes. Okay. So far so good. Now we've got a 9 by 5. Now we're going to go back to the image size, and we've got to see what our featured image and what our pixel size needs to be. And it needs to be 640 by 360. Now that should go right in here and make it 640. And see what it did there? It made it to the size that we needed it. Now it's shrunk down, it's cropped right, and now it's going to be shrunk down so we can use it as a featured image. Remember, this baby went smaller. So now I'm going to go back up here to File, and I'm going to hit Save. And the same thing is going to happen here. You can leave the same name, but I'm going to call it Kissing. But I can't save it that way because it won't keep two in the same place. So I'm going to call this Featured Image. And the featured image, again, like I had said, is what follows in a blog post. It has to be made totally separate from everybody else that's going to be in there. Same with the pages. And it's what follows when you go to hit blog and you tell it to publish, it's going to grab that featured image, and when it migrates onto all the social media, it will be taking that image with it. If there's no featured image there, then it's going to grab something else, and it's usually not a pretty sight. So I'm going to hit OK right here. It's going to tell me where to go, and I always call a featured image, and I'm going to tell it to save it. And then you can see it right. Oh, don't want to eliminate that out of here altogether, but here's my featured image. Okay, so now I have made two. One as a featured image and one for the website. Okay. Sometimes you're just going to make a featured image all by itself and not put it in the website. Most of the time you're going to be making an image and you're not going to be putting it into a featured image. Now, we want to close this part off here, and we're closing it. Now we got to bring in a vertical to do, and that's just as easy. I'm going to go open the computer. It's going to go, and I'm going to bring in a vertical shot. Let's see where it is. This is the vertical shot we're going to do. Highlight it, hit open. And now we've got a vertical. So there we go. So now I'm going to go right here, get out of the cropping tool, and I'm going to go to image, image size, and it's going to ask us what we want at this point. Again, our vertical's a different size. It's like the 5x7 or the horizontal, but just flip-flopped. So it's going to ask us for pixels right off the bat. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it 500. Height. I'm going to go to the height here first because that's where I want to go. And you can click out of here and make that 500. And you can see the numbers changing on the width there too because it's constraining it. So I'm going to hit OK. And it's very small, but that's what we need. and then we go back up here to File, to Save. You rename it and call it Bride and Dad. That's what it is. And then you hit OK. It's going to ask you where it wants to go, and hit Save. And it was on the outside of the screen here where you couldn't see it, but here it is right here. And it's asking us right there. And if I open that up into Photoshop, you don't have Photoshop, you won't need to do this. I'm just trying to make show you that it's in there. And I'm going to go to image size, and then you're going to see it's a 7 by 4.6. Anyways, that's where we're at with that. I hit OK, close out of here, but that's where we're at with that, and that's how you do your 2 sizes plus your featured image. So I hope this helps, and we will move on to something else on how to make a slider and how to do a few other things at another time.